Right, hello and welcome to all the listeners out there. Richard Gow here. Happy Friday! Yeah, we made it to the end of another week. So just for an update, if anyone didn't know, we're still at level 4 lockdown in South Africa until the end of the month. So that's poo. But that leads me to today's topic. The idea that we're stronger together. I know that that's something that's been thrown around quite a lot, and everyone sees it in sports, in business, and all of that. It takes a well-oiled machine to get things done. But right now, people are isolated. There's my entire industry. People have been left alone, and they've got to try and figure out something. Some people are banding together and they're creating things, but to be honest, they're doing it with such love in their heart that they're not making any money. So the idea popped up into my head. Yes, everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to be secure. Everyone wants to be earning constantly. But I think in a time like this, if we can dial down on some of those things and dial up on the help and dial up on the community of working together, that means that, if we help each other like small businesses and independent contractors, we can make little bits, but a lot of little bits. Does that make sense? So if we start to, today is more of a plea for those of you that are struggling out there, those of you that are struggling to come up with that solution that you need. Reach out not just to your friends, reach out to your previous colleagues, reach out to other businesses, because I guarantee you that you have a skill set that they perhaps don't, especially if it's in completely different industries. Try and think of ways that you can help someone else in another industry and how they can help you. If you have, a camera, a Leica camera, take it out, take a few photos and say, okay, cool. Well, perhaps I'm not a professional at this yet. I will be one day, but perhaps not yet. So negotiate some sort of reduced fee. Recently, I bought an amazing vintage jacket off an account on Instagram, a local account on Instagram that was selling vintage clothing apparel, and I think that's amazing. And there are little businesses like that need content, that need to reassure everyone that everyone is safe, that to buy from them, that everyone will be healthy, to support them. And I think that's something that we really need to reiterate, is that everyone will be okay. Sometimes we need to rely on other people, and that's okay. It's like when I was growing up, my parents said to me, you know what? You got these dreams, go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You have to come home. Is that the worst thing that can happen? And everyone out there that's listening to this has that kind of home. Doesn't matter if it's with friends, if it's with family, if it's with your own personal community. What's the worst thing that can happen if you try at something like that? If you try and fulfill a dream, you try and fulfill that need. What's the worst thing that can happen is you get a couple of no's. I know that that's something that the rest of the world is petrified of hearing, but those of you who work in the creative field, no it becomes your friend at some point. It becomes a friend that you don't really like, but you've got to see every now and then. It's more like a frenemy. Someone that you need to understand, that you need to keep close to you, but you also understand that you sometimes have to distance yourself from that no. And I feel like a lot of the world is learning that lesson right now. So don't be afraid of that no. Make friends with it. Go out, ask a few questions. What's the worst that can happen? Someone says, hey, this is not for me right now. But perhaps we could talk about it in a couple of weeks' time, or at some other later stage. Or, it's so what? So what if you get a couple of no's before you get a yes? There's so many times that I've seen on TV shows, in motivational speeches, that everyone keeps saying that you only need one yes to get going. And then you look for the next one yes. Yes, there may be so many no's along the way, but who cares? We're stronger together. And on that, have a beautiful morning. And if it's evening, have a beautiful evening.